Hello and welcome to Square One Games. My name is Exonovan and this is my road to completion guide for Bloodborne. In this series, I will show you how to unlock every single trophy this game has to offer, and I really hope you enjoy the run. I have two quick announcements before we get started. Number one, always make sure you're checking down below in the description of each one of the videos in the series. I will have a full video timeline waiting for you down there. You can use the timeline to skip the different sections of the video, and it also makes for a great checklist to make sure you guys haven't missed anything along the way. And number two, always make sure that you're reading my pinned comment down below. It'll be the very first comment down in the comment section. It's very important because if I need to make a correction for the videos in the series, I will always do that down below in the pinned comment. As always, if you have any questions while you're watching this series, make sure that you guys leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to respond to you guys as quick as possible. Enjoy the guide. Alright guys, the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we're playing this game in offline mode. So I want you to choose that from the main menu, then go ahead and select new game. You can name your character whatever you want, but for the origin of the character, I want you guys to pick Violent Past. Once you finish creating your character, scroll down to finish and then select yes and we'll start the game. So Bloodborne is a very tricky game to master, but lucky for you guys, you do not have to be a master at this game to be able to get your platinum. I'm going to be breaking down all the combat, all the boss fights, giving you the best possible strategies I can think of to make this a very smooth experience for you guys, especially if you're new to the franchise. Now the first thing I want you to pay close attention to is the green bar in the top left hand side of the screen. Notice that as I'm holding down the O button and sprinting through the clinic, the green bar is going down. Every time you attack, every time you roll, you have to constantly monitor that green bar because once it hits 0, you're not going to be able to sprint, roll, or attack. Now you can see that I died to this enemy and I did that on purpose, and I want you to do the exact same thing, okay? Dying to that enemy will trigger an event that takes you back to the Hunter's Dream, okay? This is a very important place for your character. You're gonna be able to level up your stats, fast travel, access chalice dungeons, fortify your weapons. There's a lot of stuff you can do in this area, okay? We wanna get here now because we wanna be able to pick up two things. Now obviously picking up these two weapons will make you more effective against the enemies, but there's another reason why I want you to pick up these two weapons, okay? There are 26 specific weapons that you have to pick up in this game in order to pop a trophy, and by picking up the Hunter Axe and the Hunter Blunderbuss, you'll be getting credit for 2 of those 26 weapons. After you pick up the Axe and the Blunderbuss, go ahead and fast travel back over to the first floor sick room. So just up ahead is going to be the enemy that we just died to on purpose, and now we're actually going to kill that enemy, okay? But I want you to notice what's happening here. I got a blood stain that's on the floor. Some of you are not going to see that blood stain, but if you look down at the enemy that just killed us, his eyes will be purple. Now I'm going to explain blood echoes in just a second, but before I do that, I want you guys to press options on your controller and then select inventory by pressing X. You see that we have our inventory, materials, key items, so forth and so on, guys. You can just scroll left to right and go to different menus. And then of course you're going to be given the menu at the bottom that tells you what's in that specific category. I just want you to get used to where everything is at this point. Now after you spent some time in that menu, go ahead and press O to back out and then scroll over to stats, press X. This is all the statistics that are related to your character, okay? Now you don't have to know what all this stuff means, although you can if you want to. You can hit R3 on your controller and scroll down and read the descriptions. I've got you guys covered when it comes to that throughout the game, so you don't actually have to know what's going on with your character because I've already got that done for you. But if you want to kind of check it out, that's how you would do it, okay? Just press R3 for help and read those descriptions. So the next thing that we need to do is scroll down to where it says arms. You'll see that we have 4 slots. I want you guys to pick the first slot by pressing X, and then I want you to equip the Hunter Axe. Now if you look at the bottom of the screen to the right of the D-pad option, you'll see that it says equip remove by pressing X. Notice that I got a pink icon over the picture of the Hunter Axe. That lets me know that I have it equipped. If I were to press X again, I would remove the Hunter Axe. You see what I'm saying? So the X button equips and removes your weapons and your attire. You'll see the pink icon again when I go through my attire. See it on my trousers? It lets you know that I have that equipped, okay? And then you have your bottom main menu, which is going to be your quick items. Quick items come in handy, especially during stressful situations. Remember, you cannot pause this game. The action never stops. So the last thing you want to do is be in your menus while you're in the middle of a combat situation, okay? So let's say that you're facing off against an enemy that can poison you. Well, just go ahead and slot the antidote in your menu there, and then you'll be able to use it during combat by pressing square. Obviously, we'll talk more about quick items as we play through the game, but for now, I want you guys to learn how to set up safety saves. So the first thing that we need to do is exit the game. Just follow the prompts that I'm showing you guys on screen. That's going to take you out to a loading screen. As soon as the loading screen hits, dashboard by hitting your PlayStation home button, go over to settings, scroll down to applications, save data management. And then it's going to ask you to close the application, select OK. From here, select option 1. And then you have two options, okay? Upload to online storage or copy to a USB storage device. It really depends on how you guys have this thing set up. If you have a USB, you're gonna be following exactly what I'm doing here on screen. If you're playing on your main PlayStation Plus account, you can use the top option and upload to cloud storage. The process works the same. It just depends on how you wanna save your progress. Now don't worry if that was a little bit too fast for you guys. I'll be showing you how to set up safety saves multiple times during this episode, and I'm going to be going as slow as possible. Once we get into episode 2 though, I'm going to start speeding up the process. I will assume that you understand how to safety save and you don't need to watch it every single time. So the next thing I want you guys to do is get really comfortable with the Hunter axe, okay? Notice that I'm facing the screen so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm pressing L1 on my controller to switch between weapon forms. You can have the short version of the Hunter axe or the long version of the Hunter axe, and each one of those have different move sets. You can see there I'm using R1 to do a basic attack. This is R2. See how it charges up? 9 times out of 10, if you hit an enemy with that attack, you'll knock them down on the ground or at least stagger them. The great thing about extending the axe is that you get a lot of range. So notice here when I press L1 and I switch and I extend the axe, now look at all the range I get versus what I was doing with the short axe. Notice that each time I swing, I take a huge step forward. You guys see that? Notice the huge step forward? That closes the distance on the enemy and gives me a slight advantage. Remember, these enemies are only going to attack you when you get so close to them, right? So by taking that one step forward, I can usually beat the enemy to their attack and it gives me the advantage. Now pay close attention to how much distance I cover. All I'm doing is just holding down the R2 button with the axe extended. I rotate around, I close the distance on the enemy, and then I'm also spinning. So any enemies that are around me, full 360 will be hit by that attack. I'm gonna tilt the camera above my head in a second and show you exactly how much distance I'm covering when I hold down the R2 button with the axe extended. We're gonna use that to our advantage a lot during this playthrough, okay? So I really want you guys to get used to that attack, learning the distance, because that's gonna keep you guys alive during this playthrough. So after you've experimented with the Hunter axe, I want you to recover your blood echoes, okay? You can see that I have a blood stain. Some of you guys are gonna have a blood stain as well. If you do, walk across it, press X, and pick up your blood echoes. And now it's time to get some sweet revenge on the enemy that killed us earlier. I want you guys to press R3 to target the enemy, press L1 to shorten your axe, walk up pretty close to the enemy, hold down R2. That's gonna allow you guys to knock the enemy down. And then quickly press R2 again to finish off the enemy. You can see in the top right hand side of the screen, we should all have 415 blood echoes at this point. Remember, if you kill an enemy that has glowing purple eyes, that enemy has your blood echoes, so make sure that you always retrieve those when you can. Moving to the next room, pick up both of these blood vials. That's how we heal in the game. You can see in the top left hand side of the screen underneath the green bar we have blood vials, and the next one is going to be quicksilver bullets, which we're going to be picking up in the next area. So let's talk a little bit more about blood vials and quicksilver bullets. In the top left hand side of the screen, you can see that we have 2 blood vials and the number 2 is in white. And then we have quicksilver bullets. We have 20 of those, but that number is colored in. If the number is white, it means you can carry more of that particular item. If it's colored in, you're maxed out. You cannot carry any more until you use some of what you have. So now let me explain another strategy for killing these enemies, okay? Notice that I used my hunter axe on that carriage. That got the enemy's attention, okay? Sometimes you're gonna go into combat areas and there's gonna be maybe 3 enemies. 2 might be standing a little bit further off in the distance than the other one. So if you hit something in the environment with your axe, you'll get the attention of the enemy that's closest to you, but you will not aggro the other 2 enemies, okay? So then instead of it being a 3v1, it's a 1v1. Now you might be wondering why the enemy suddenly stopped chasing me, turned around and started walking in the opposite direction. There's a built-in mechanic with Bloodborne, and it works in Dark Souls as well, where if you get far enough away from the initial starting location of an enemy, the enemy will want to turn around and go back to that location. When this happens, you have total advantage play over the enemy. Notice what I'm going to do here. As soon as the enemy turns around, I'm going to hold down the O button to sprint. When I get close enough, while holding down the O button, I'm going to hit R1. That's going to allow me to lunge at the enemy, get an attack in. Notice I'm going to backstep extremely quick by spamming the O button, so I get my distance, right, in case he comes back with a counterattack. Rinse and repeat until he dies. And believe it or not, you can even use this tactic to defeat bosses in this game, okay? It's extremely powerful. Once you know where the cutoffs are, you can manipulate where the enemy goes. As soon as they turn their back, you get them cheap shots in. It makes a lot of these stressful situations a lot easier. So at this point, make sure that your axe is extended by hitting L1, and then we're gonna go up here and kill these 2 enemies. Now, all I want you guys to do is walk up to the enemies with the axe extended, target them and hit R2 1 time. They'll die in 1 hit. Then I want you to grab the Molotov cocktails in the corner. There's gonna be 6 of those. Once you have the Molotov cocktails, turn around and head toward the switch that's on the ground. Pick up the blood vials. You're gonna get 2 of those. Pull the switch, climb the ladder, and I want you guys to turn on the lamp. Now there's 2 ways to climb a ladder in this game. You can just press up on the left thumbstick, and of course you'll be climbing pretty slow. But if you hold down the O button, you'll go a little bit quicker, save you guys some time. Now after you turn the lamp on, I want you to notice how many blood vials you have in the top left hand side of the screen. You can see that I have 8. You should have at least 7, okay? If you have less than 7, I want you to load up your safety save and try this sequence over again. If you want to learn how to load up a safety save, go ahead and forward through to the 1837 mark of this video and I'll show you guys how to do that. And I want you to keep replaying this sequence over again until you can make it to this lamp with at least 7 blood vials. Now, if you have 7 or more blood vials, go ahead and create another backup save by following the prompts on screen. So the most effective strategy that I can teach you guys here in episode 1 for getting through Bloodborne safely and efficiently is to run. We do not want to try to kill all the enemies on screen. It's not worth it, okay? If we kill an enemy and they hit us 2 times and we're down to 50% health and they do not drop a blood vial, well, guess what? Well, now we have to use a resource to get back to 100% health, and we don't have that resource back in our inventory. If we do that enough, we're going to end up not having any blood vials. You see what I mean? So you want to run through these areas. You want to think about this game in terms of sequences. Like what we just did was a sequence. We ran from that point to this point. We're going to pick up this item over here in the corner, which is a bloodstone shard. I'll explain those a little bit later on. And then we're going to go over here and pick up another item. And then we're going to create another safety save. Now look, you don't have to create safety saves that close together, but some of you will have to, okay? Some of you are going to struggle with this game, even though I'm showing you exactly what to do. It's going to take you a while to get used to this game. So in the meantime, set up safety saves. It will save you a ton of time. Now the rule of thumb for setting up a safety save is going to be different for all of us. Now I'm going to have some safety saves in this run that I'm definitely going to want you guys to do. Like for instance, once we get to the end of the game, we can set up safety saves and get all 3 endings out without having to play the game 3 times. That's going to save you a ton of time, right? So I will explain that once we get there. But for you individually, while you're playing this game, you can safety save as many times as you want to, guys. You can kill one enemy, safety save. Kill another enemy, safety save. It depends on how comfortable you are with the game. That will determine how many safety saves you need to make. In my opinion, if I were you guys, every time you did something in this game where you were like, man, I don't ever want to do that again, that's the time you should safety save. If you get through a tricky area, maybe I don't safety save in my gameplay, but it was tricky for you, safety save, right? Lock in that progress. That'll save you a ton of time from having to redo these areas. Now, there's going to be some of you who do not want to set up safety saves, and that's fine. You can still follow this guide. You'll still be able to get all the trophies. Just know that you're going to spend a lot more time in this game than the rest of us. So at this point, we have some running around that we need to do. There's a bloodstone shard that I want you guys to pick up here in a second. Make sure you grab that. And then we're going to create another safety save. Once we come back from that safety save, I'll hop back in with some commentary. So the next enemy can kill you really quick. We're talking 1 or 2 hits, okay? So I want you to shorten the axe, sprint down this tunnel. As soon as you get to the left of this enemy, target the enemy by hitting R3, rotate around to the back, hold down R2, get that charged attack, walk up, hit R1. That's going to allow you guys to do a visceral attack, do a ton of damage, and then another charged R2, and now the enemy's dead. If the enemy kills you, load up your safety save. Remember, I have that tutorial for you guys at the 18:37 second mark of this video. Load up that safety save and keep trying until you're able to kill that enemy, and then make sure you pick up the Saw Hunter badge. We're going to need that for later on. And then exit out this way. We're going to climb the ladder, and we're going to get set up for a boss fight, okay? When you get to the top of this ladder, run immediately to the left and keep sprinting all the way through until you get to like an archway. That's where we're going to be setting up for the boss fight. We just don't want the enemies that's to the right of this ladder to hit us, okay? So get to the top of the ladder, immediately sprint to the left, keep going. You're going to see some enemies on the right up here, but just keep going, guys, all the way up to the top of the steps. When you see the archway, we're going to stop and set up for the fight. So we've been picking up Molotov cocktails. You should have 10 at this point. Go down to your quick item slot, the very first slot, press X, equip the Molotov cocktails. We're going to use those to help us defeat this boss. Then I want you guys to create another safety save. So before we fight this boss, I want to teach you guys how to load up a safety save. So notice that I have 10 Molotov cocktails. I'm going to press square and throw 5 at this wall. That leaves me with 5 Molotov cocktails, okay? And then I'm going to load up my safety save. Remember, when I created the safety save, I had 10 Molotov cocktails. So when I load back in, I'm still going to have those 10 Molotov cocktails. So notice that I'm scrolling down to Application Save Data Management, closing the application, and I'm going to pick option 3. For those of you that are using the online storage with your PlayStation Plus account, you're going to choose option 2. If you're using a USB like me, obviously option 3. Go ahead and select the file. We're going to copy that file back over to our system storage. One thing you have to know about this game is that it saves constantly. So each time I threw a Molotov cocktail, it was saving my progress. So I should only have 5 Molotov cocktails now, okay? If I were to just exit the game and come back in like normal, I would only have 5. But because I loaded up my safety save, I have 10. That allows you guys to fight this boss as many times as you need to if you end up wasting your Molotov cocktails or it doesn't work out for you or this enemy kills you, right? All you have to do, load up your safety save and fight this boss as many times as you need to in order to defeat him. Now the process for defeating this boss is extremely simple once you know a few tricks, okay? Trick number 1, always keep the tombstones in between you and the boss, okay? It's gonna keep you protected. Sometimes he'll be able to shoot you with his gun. It's gonna be random. If he does, you guys can always heal. If you get too close to the tombstones, he will be able to hit you with his axe. But that's exactly why you wanna keep your distance off of those tombstones. Notice how far I am away in the gameplay. Remember, we have the ability to close the gap using the charged R2 attack while we have the axe extended. And that's how we're gonna get through phase 1 of this fight. Now it is still possible for him to do damage to your character while you're doing the charged R2 attack, so if he takes off more than 50% of your health, go ahead and heal by pressing triangle. Now in order to minimize the amount of damage that you take during the first phase of this fight, make sure that you're counter-attacking only, okay? You want to wait for him to attack first and then follow that with the charged R2. And you can see in the gameplay that I just took some damage when I went to go for the counter attack with the charged R2, so it's not foolproof, okay? Sometimes you'll take a hit every now and again because he'll add in an additional combat animation that throws off your timing, but for the most part, if you counter attack during this sequence, you'll be completely fine. You'll be able to get some clean damage on the enemy and stay safe along the way. So once you take off about 70% of this boss's health, he's going to start to transform, okay? That's going to give you guys just enough time to run away. I want you to follow my gameplay, fall off the edge of this platform and wait. Now eventually he's going to chase you guys. When he gets close enough, I want you to lock on with R3 and then toss a Molotov cocktail by pressing square after he does an attack. Now as soon as he jumps off the top platform to attack you guys, roll off the edge, run back up the stairs and repeat that process. The goal is to use no more than 4 Molotov cocktails. Now, if for whatever reason you guys end up using more than 4 Molotov cocktails, it's not the end of the world, guys. You can buy more Molotov cocktails back at the Hunter's Dream, and we will need those Molotov cocktails for later, or you can go ahead and load back up your safety save and try the fight again. But ideally, you want to leave this fight with 6 Molotov cocktails, or you want to have a plan in place to buy more Molotov cocktails later on. And there it is, guys, your trophy for defeating that boss. You also get the tomb key, which we're going to be able to use to open up a gate here in a second. But I want you guys to pick up another trophy before we wrap up this episode. Go ahead and search this body and grab the red jeweled brooch. Press options on your controller. Go into your inventory, find the red jeweled brooch, press X, and then select X to use, and then we're going to hit X one more time to use the red jeweled brooch, and that's going to give you guys the red blood gem, and that's going to pop your next trophy, blood gem contact. Now if you guys look off in the distance to the right, you'll see a purple glow. That's another lamp. Anytime that you defeat a boss in this game, a lamp will show up in the boss arena, so go ahead and light the lamp. We don't have to return to the Hunter's Dream though, just light the lamp. Then we're going to go up the stairs and open up the gate with the key that we just got. At this point, all we have to do is follow the path until we reach a treasure chest on the left. I want you guys to open up that treasure chest. You're going to get an item called the Blood Gem Workshop tool. We need that for later. Then we're going to keep going up the stairs until we hit the double doors. You guys will have a cutscene. There'll be a lamp on the other side. Light the lamp, set up a safety save, and I will see you guys right back here in episode 2. Be good.